Welcome, welcome, welcome to another episode of Glorious Life on Wheels, where I show you how to make simple, easy, budget meals that anyone, no matter what your cooking level, can make. I am going to show you something that's going to be really fun today. It is I call it my honey bun version of French toast, or honey bun French toast, however you want to call it. But I make it for my daughter all the time and she really loves it. And I've made it for her friends too. I'm going to add a special touch today, and I'm going to make it with chocolate gravy that one of my viewers, Johnny L., sent in for me. If you remember, that was a tip some weeks back, but today I'm actually going to make it. So thank you, Johnny L. So come on, let's go. Let's go have some fun making some delicious honey bun French toast and chocolate gravy. Let's go. Today, what I'm going to be cooking for you is honey bun French toast with chocolate gravy. Does that not sound amazing? But it's so simple. The honey buns are already made. These are just Little Debbie honey buns. And then I'm going to use a chocolate gravy that the recipe came from one of my viewers, Johnny L. If you recall, some weeks back I shared that tip, but today I'm actually going to use that chocolate gravy recipe that Johnny L sent me on my honey bun French toast. And let's just see how it works. What you're going to do, I'm going to break down each item and then go to what I'll do is I'll make one item, break down what's going to be in it, and then I'll make the other item and break down what's going to be in that. I think that'll be the simplest way to do it. For the gravy, the chocolate gravy, what you're going to need is sugar. You will need flour. You will need milk, and you will need a little bit of cocoa powder. That's the recipe that Johnny gave me. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a few things to that. I'm going to add some pure vanilla, a little bit of cinnamon, just a dash of nutmeg, because nutmeg can be pretty strong. And for the chocolate or the cocoa powder, I'm going to just use chocolate milk mix because that's what I have on hand. And I'm not going to use that much sugar, but she called for, I think it was a full cup of sugar. I'm not going to use quite that much because I'm using a little bit of French vanilla, these packets. And these are so convenient because you don't have to refrigerate them. You can just buy them in a box like this, and they're very inexpensive if you get them at Walmart or Big Lots or a budget store. So let's get started. Now, what you'll see here is she called for about 4 tablespoons of flour, 4 tablespoons of cocoa powder, and also a cup of sugar, but as I said, I didn't add that because the cocoa powder already has sugar in it. And I'm going to also be adding some, as I said, the French vanilla, so I'm not going to be putting that much sugar. And then she also called for 3 cups of milk. Now, almond milk is fine. You can use half and half. You can use regular milk. I happen to have this milk because it's shelf safe, so it doesn't have to be refrigerated. And it's whole milk, but it is very rich. So I'm going to use this in here today. She said, actually I don't know if Johnny's a he or she. Johnny, would you comment and let me know, are you a lady or a man? But she said about 3 cups of milk. Since I don't have that much sugar, I'm not going to put as much milk, but I'm going to play it by ear. So I'm going to turn this gas on kind of low. And what Johnny said to do was to just cook it until it's the thickness that you want. With the flour in it, that's what will thicken it. So we're going to go ahead and start adding this milk here. I'm adding it a little bit at a time. That's about a cup. I'm going to add a cup here. And you know what? I don't want to use that spoon. I'm going to get my spatula here. I'm going to turn this down. I got it on a little too high. Turning it kind of on low. I'm going to mix that up really good in here. And let it get good and mixed. Probably could use a whisk in here, but I'm going to go ahead and get this mixed up really good. And I'm going to add some more milk here. About another cup of milk. Now when I make gravy, what I typically do is I get a little roux and I get it kind of a pasty, and then I add a pasty texture, and then I add my milk as it goes. I didn't do this in here, but maybe next time I'll do that, because I see the flour. It's going to be a little challenge getting this flour to get down, but it's going to go down. So we're going to kind of let this stir this as it's going, and I'm going to come back in a few minutes as this starts to heat up and bubble. Okay, it looks like this is thickening up really nicely. You can see how it's gotten much thicker in texture. One thing I would suggest that you do make kind of a roux for your gravy so that you don't have to deal with lumps, and that would be when you put the flour in and all the dry ingredients, add a little bit of moisture and get it to kind of a paste consistency, then add a little more of the milk, get it a little more creamy, a little more, until you work up to your 2 cups instead of adding it all as I did here. But it's working out okay. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my creamer here. I'm going to add about 4 of these little packs. And then I'm going to add a little bit of cinnamon, and I decided I'm not going to add the nutmeg after all. I'll taste it and see. Maybe I will. We'll see. I'm adding just a dash of cinnamon here. And I'm going to stir this up. So now it needs to thicken up a little bit more again. You can see how that cream kind of thinned it down a little bit. So I'm going to, but you need to continually stir this because it will get lumpy and clumpy. So you have to be watching this pretty carefully. And I'm going to turn the heat up just a little bit on this. And I think what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to taste it and see how I like it. That's good. That is good. The cinnamon really did add something, as did the vanilla creamer. Made it a little creamier and a little richer. And I'm going to add the heat a little bit. And I think I'm going to add just another dash of cinnamon. It wouldn't hurt it if you wanted to add a little tab of salted butter, but I'm not going to do that today. We're just going to keep it simple and basic. Okay, that's all nice and creamy. I'm going to let it get a little, just a tad bit thicker, I think, and then we'll come back and I'll show you how simple it is to make the honey bun French toast. This has just reached a nice thick. I like it a little bit thick. See how thick it is? Nice and thick to pour over the. I'm going to put this aside now, and I'm going to show you how to make the honey bun French toast, which is simple, simple, simple. Let me put this aside and we'll be right back. All right, we're ready to make, I guess you could call it a custard kind of, for the honey buns. Now what I do is I put 3 eggs, and I'm going to whip those up pretty good in here. Get them whipped up pretty good. And I did forget to mention, I did add a touch of vanilla to the chocolate sauce. So I forgot to show that on tape, but I did add a touch of vanilla to it. Now I'm going to put this down here. I'm going to add a little bit of milk to this. Maybe a cup of milk or so. Then I'm going to add a little bit of sugar. Not a lot, just a little bit, because the honey buns are already going to be pretty sweet. Then I'm going to add, you don't even have to add the sugar if you don't want to. I'm going to add some cinnamon, a little dash of nutmeg. I do add nutmeg to this, just a dash, and then I'm going to add a little vanilla, about a teaspoon or so of vanilla. And then I also like to add a couple of my French vanilla creamers to this. Now, if you're in a house, you can have your French vanilla in a bottle. But if you're in a van, you might very well have it in these little packets. So that's what we're going to do. There we go. And I'm just going to whip this up really good. Now, sometimes if I want to make it really, really rich, I might add maybe a tablespoon or so of melted butter, but I'm not doing that today. Okay, it's kind of all whipped up here. Now what I'm going to do is I've got my honey buns here, and I usually and often when I'm cooking, I will add oil with my butter so the butter doesn't burn. But on this, I don't want that taste of oil on the honey buns, so I'm only going to be cooking them in melted butter here. About a tablespoon or two of melted butter. Now what I'm also going to do with my honey buns is I'm just going to pierce them here a few times, just so that both my custard here that I made will soak in, and also so that the chocolate gravy will soak in too. Now, you're not going to leave this custard very long, only for about maybe 5 seconds or so, because you don't want it to be soppy. If it's soppy, the texture, I just don't like a soppy, wet kind of honey bun. So just take this, dip it in, and out you go. Let it and into the pot. And we're going to get all 4 of these. These honey buns are only about $1.86 for a pack of 6 at Walmart, or even less if you get them, I think, in a larger container. So that's 31 cents or less per honey bun. Now, I made more custard than I really need because I'm only making 4 honey buns, so I'll put this in the refrigerator and I'll save this for tomorrow. Here we are. And I'm just letting that cook. And then I'll turn them over and we'll come back in a few. You can hear that sizzle and it smells so good. The butter flavor is getting in there. Yum. And we'll be back soon, and I'll show you once they're all done. Well, it looks like this is done. Smells heavenly. I am going to go ahead and plate this up, put the chocolate sauce on it, and let you know how it is. The favorite part's coming up. Oh boy, now comes the fun part. You may have noticed I added a little touch of whipped cream on here to make it exceptionally decadent. We'll see. This will blow your mind. That's just how good it is. Sorry for the sound of the ice cream truck in the background, but even that can distract me right now. This tastes so good. All the flavors, the chocolate, the butter, the cinnamon, the little taste of vanilla. You have to excuse me. I've got to have one more bite and then I promise I'll put it down. Oh my. You know what? That music in the background is perfect because this is the kind of scrumptious, out of this world, different, strangely different, but oddly amazing food that you find at a carnival or at the county fair. So that music was perfect. I promised one bite, but this is it. I promise. Just delicious. Well, if you want to make a special treat for yourself or something your kids will enjoy and have a blast, or your grandkids making, this is the thing to make. Well, here we are. I don't know how many shows this is. I think we're almost up to 40, or we might even be over 40. But apparently we're going to stick around, thanks to you and all of my wonderful viewers. From the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for your support. And I will see you again next Thursday. Don't forget to hit that bell, subscribe, and send in those tips and comments. And on the Monday the 2nd of November, come join me for our official first Out and About Glow. And then come join me on the 7th at 3 p.m. West Coast, 6 p.m. East Coast for my very first live, where we'll be celebrating our 5,000 mark, which actually we're way over that now, but that's what we'll be celebrating and giving away some wonderful gifts. I'll see you then. Take care. May your journeys be filled with joy and blessings. Till next time.